How's it going, everyone? It's your boy Dak908, aka the Dig Dug himself, and today, ladies and gents, we're looking at some more Monster Hunter World beta gameplay from the original first beta. I know I just released a video saying, yo, we got another beta, and that's going to be coming really soon. For those of you who don't know, we are totally going to be getting a new beta. That beta will go live December 22nd. We'll go through the 26th of that same month, giving us, effectively, a birthday gift from Capcom. Anyway, today, we're going to talk about the Barroth. Now, the Barroth is one of my favorite monsters, period. If you guys remember my top 10s, if you do remember, I'll probably put that video in the description. My top 10 favorite monsters of all time. He didn't actually technically make that list simply because I felt that if I were to really be wholly earnest about that, like 80% of the entire list would just be third generation monsters, because the third generation had just a lot of really cool monsters in it. I mean, not taking anything away from the first or the second, even the fourth generation. It's just that a lot of the cooler monsters that I really like, that really speak to me, appear more in the third generation, simply because in the third generation they introduced two different types of wyvern. Now, not to say that the other first two generations didn't introduce a couple of different wyvern types as well. It's just that the first two generations, a lot of the wyverns and the monsters for that matter, they all kind of looked kind of the same. It was because Monster Hunter was in its infancy, and they were just cranking out monsters. A lot of them looked similar. Some of them were just like really annoying. I mean, all the real cool monsters from the first two generations, they don't really resonate too deeply with many people anyway. So I left up the third generation, and rightfully so, to actually give us a wider variety of monsters to actually love. And that's why. That's an explanation as to why Barroth was in the top 10 list, because if I'd have done that, it'd have been too many. Regardless, Barroth. Now, Barroth makes a return in Monster Hunter World, which is really cool, and I'm glad to see my man is really back in true to form. He actually has a couple of new attacks. I'll say a couple of new attacks. Some of them kind of got me off guard. I wasn't really expecting it from him, because I've grown to understand his playstyle, so to speak. And for them to throw it in there, I was like, whoa, I wasn't expecting that, you know what I mean? It was kind of like a G rank thing. You know, when you go into G rank, certain monsters have different attacks, or certain attacks take on different properties. It was something similar to that. So, I mean, I'll give it up to Barroth. He looks good, which is nice to know my man is still looking good. He looked great with these graphics and everything. The fact that he's in the desert actually is completely open, because there's no zones. Well, there's zones, but there's no loading screens or whatever. Allows him to go from mud to desert sand like really quickly, if he wants to, when he's leaving and stuff. So I like how they put him in here, and they have ecosystems for him to actually be in both aspects at the same time. So that's good world design, and that's good monster placement within world design. See what I'm saying? Cool. So other than that, I mean, yo, Barroth, he's still the same guy. He's for the most part, he still charges around. He's a brute wyvern. He's one of the, actually, I do believe he's the first brute wyvern you actually meet in Monster Hunter Tri. So brute wyverns, if you don't really understand, brute wyverns for the most part, they like to just go in, honestly. Little to no thinking really involved. They just like to do as much damage, normally charging at you with their entire bodies the entire time. Diablos is not quite a brute wyvern, even though it's like really close. If Diablos didn't have any wings, and probably a couple other things about it, it probably would have also been a brute wyvern. But for the most part, he charges at you with his head piece, whatever. You can knock it off still. This does not mean that he will no longer be able to charge. It's just another carve, so to speak. I do think rather, that in this game, when breaking and cutting certain parts of the monster, certain things will be affected. So I'd like to think, I need to test this myself, but if he charges at you without, or with some of his scalp missing, he'll probably be more prone to knocking himself out when he runs into objects, because I did fight one before, and he did charge into a wall, and he did knock himself out. He did. I believe his head was broken as well. So that might be a thing. I'm not 100% sure about that, but if so, then that's really cool. It's a huge boon. But like I said, he kind of plays the same. He's still, you know, a good monster to actually fight. If you want to just test your metal, Barroth is a good monster to actually do that with, which I'm kind of doing right now with this gun lance. Now, this isn't the first time I'm using the gun lance in this game, even though the prompt just popped up. It just means I turn my game off, turn it back on. You know, the lady always talks to you every time I turn the game back on. But the gun lance in this game is very, very strong. Like, very, very strong. Either it's super duper strong, or it's just super duper fun. Regardless, it brings new meaning to the term fun lance, okay? Gun lance, fun lance, that whole stick. But I do love it. It allows you to be super unique with your combos because it's not like the traditional gun lance. So even a lot of people who've never even picked up the weapon before are liking the weapon, so that's really cool. Now, lance is my favorite thing, and it has no flare to it really, but the gun lance was the thing with, it was basically the lance with the flare. Now people are more looking at my gun lance and like, yo, it's really cool, and it's good to know that people are actually picking up a weapon that literally just one game ago was probably the least used weapon in all of Monster Hunter. So it's really fun. I'm having a lot of fun with the combos, like I said before. Really unique stuff. It allows you to incorporate your shots into your pokes, into that. I'm just gonna call it the harpoon. To the harpoon into the weapon fire. I mean, it's like you're playing an actual fighting game, because if you do the combos a certain way, you get certain things. If you do it another way, you get a different thing. If you mash it out, you get a totally different thing as well. So if you have to really think about what you're doing. You can't just kind of like just go in here and just yam on a thing and yam on a monster. Think you're gonna come out here with the greatest result. But as it stands, I mean, I am in love with the gun lance. Hopefully you guys like it a lot too. As well as my man Barroth right here. Hopefully we get to see maybe a couple more monsters make a return. I wouldn't be super stoked if, you know, everybody made a return, but I like to see a couple of returning monsters. Cause I know we got my man Yurgan here. We got Barroth coming. Well, Barroth here, right here, as you can see, and a couple others. But you know, who knows? The game isn't out yet. We don't even know the full list of monsters. Not yet, anyway. There's a leaked list going around somewhere, but I'm not sure if it's 100% because there's certain monsters that have already appeared that aren't appearing on that list. However, with that being said, everyone, it's been your boy Dak908, aka the Dig Dug himself. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this gameplay right here, and let me know what you think about the gun lance and the Barroth in general. With that being said, take care. Desire sensor, let that be in your favor, because we only got a month till the game comes out. Yo, we're really gonna need it then.